Alright, so this is for everyone who is stuck at home. We're going to do the layout on graph paper. Now, if you don't have graph paper, you could use regular paper and lay it out similar to how we do on the sheet metal. But if you do have graph paper, I think this will be highly beneficial. And when you do glue or tape this together, you're going to need two pieces. Try to tape it together so the grid lines match up approximately where they would be for a regular square. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just that approximate is fine. So I've got them approximately lined up, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay out our object. So I'm going to use a Sharpie to do this. You should use a pencil because there are bits that you're going to want to come in later and fix. So the big thing is we are at 18 inches for our longest measurement. We're going to do that a little bit down from the top. So a little bit, and just for your knowledge, if you don't have a ruler, I'm going to start here. This is 12 inches, and then 18 would be 6 more. If you do not have a ruler or something to help you with, you may consider just counting the grids. Each grid on a sheet of graph paper is a 1/4 inch, so 4 grids is an inch. And I'm just going to start with this top line here, and it is going to be dotted, or dashed I should say, because in the actual object you will be folding along this line. So this is a paper pattern that we're creating right now that would later be transferred over to sheet metal if you were in class. And you can do this with regular paper. You just need to make all your measurements twice in that case. So we're going to start with there at 4 inches in from each side. So I'm going to measure in 4 inches, make a dot on each side. So that's on one side, and this is on the other. At 4 inches in from each side, we're going to make a line going down 5 7/8. That's going to be to here on this one, and it will be right here on this one. And if you want, you can actually connect those two lines with a solid line. And I would actually recommend doing this with a pencil, not a Sharpie. I just find that the Sharpie is much more visible on video. Alright, so from here, most of this line is going to be dashed, but the last inch and an eighth of it is not. So I'm actually going to right now do the inch and an eighth portion and darken that in. Inch and an eighth on each side. On each side, 1 inch and an eighth. So I got that on each side. And then I can connect up to the top mark. I had at 4 inches, and once again, these non-solid lines would be folded if you were doing this with sheet metal, so that is why I am laying out this way, to indicate that those are in fact fold lines. Okay, going across here on the graph paper, between here and here, between these two lines, this would be a dashed line, because this will be folded. So we're coming across now and doing our layout. And then extending beyond this, we're going to have some other marks we have to make. Each of these marks is going to be at 1.5 inches, so we're going to go out an additional 1.5 inches. I'm going to go out this way 1.5 inches, and I'm going to go out this way 1.5 inches. And if you don't know what 1.5 inches is, it is 6 boxes. So 6 boxes on 1/4 inch graph paper is 1.5 inches. At 3 boxes, I'm going to make a little mark on each of them. So 1, 2, 3 boxes, make a little mark. This one I went out a little too far. That's 1.5 inches. And up top here, I'm going to go down 3 boxes for 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go down here again 3/4. I'm going to connect that 3/4 line with our first mark. And this should be dashed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to connect these over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to go down 3 more boxes. This will be a solid line, 1, 2, 3 on each side. And then I will connect that to the end of that 1.5 line right there. So these are all solid because they are outside cuts. So here and here. And we're in the home stretch now. Last thing we got to do is we got to do our folding patterns here. So if I had a pencil, this would be easier. But I'm going to make a 45-degree line up on both of these, which is going at a diagonal through the boxes, up 3 boxes. I'm also going to make 45s from this one and from this one going in both directions. These are solid and they're being cut, and like I said, they're going diagonally through 3 boxes. And then you can just connect that right on that top edge, right along that line. So I'm connecting here and here. And I will finish connecting right here. Now I've got one more line here. So I got a dot right there. So going up from here, 1, 2, 3/8. So I'm going to go up from here 3/8. And we are going to make a dashed line right across here, because that is another fold line. Okay, so once you get that, all that you have to do left is make your fold lines. So this is indicating where we're going to fold in which order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is all. And now, if you wanted to, you could actually cut this out on paper, and you could try to do the folds like we do in the video. If you actually cut this out and maybe put it on some cardstock or something, you might be able to actually get the folds like the shelf itself. Now, it's not going to be the same as if you were doing it in class, but it will give you a pretty good idea of what we are doing. So this is what you have to hand in, the shelf pattern, a picture of it, and if you want, you can try to maybe cut this out and paste it on some cardstock, and then cut the cardstock out and try to do all the bends and folds we do in the video in class. I hope this was helpful, and good luck.